Today we are ranking every shotgun in Call of Duty Mobile for the current meta. Now, similar to snipers, there aren't a huge number of shotguns, so we'll use a condensed tier system. S for meta defining, A for top tier, B for average, C for below average, and F for the garbage disposal. But first, a crucial point about both snipers and shotguns. Because they can one-shot or vaporize enemies instantly, almost any shotgun can feel good in the right situation. So, while we acknowledge that feeling, this list will rank them objectively based on their true potential and consistency. With that said, let's dive into the rankings. First up is the Argus, and honestly, this gun probably belongs more in the marksman rifle category than with the shotguns. Why? Because this thing can effectively one-shot enemies from 0 out to roughly 40 meters. It achieves this with an incredibly fast 159 millisecond ADS time, making it the fastest aiming one-shot weapon capable of that range. The fire interval is 808 milliseconds, the overall mobility is great, and the magazine stats are excellent with 15 bullets and a quick 1-second reload. On paper, everything looks perfect. But now for the crucial flaws. First, this gun is completely unable to get a kill using hipfire. You must ADS, at least partially, for the pellets to group tightly enough. And second, the iron sight isn't perfect, which is a significant issue for a gun that requires precise aiming down sights at all times. Overall, the Argus is arguably the best in its unique niche, but almost nobody uses it, so it doesn't define the meta. For its incredible potential balanced by its demanding playstyle, it lands in A tier. Next up is the BY-15, one of the three main pump-action shotguns alongside the KRM and the HSO-405. Its biggest advantage is that it's the easiest of the three to use. This is thanks to a very fast fire rate for a pump at 81 RPM and a good pellet spread that works well for both hipfire and aiming down sights. But that ease of use comes at a cost. It's also the worst of the three in terms of raw power. It doesn't have the best lethality, possessing the shortest effective one-shot range and relatively low damage considering its pellet count. Overall, the BY-15 isn't a bad gun, but the reality is the KRM and especially the HSO-405 simply do the same job better. The BY-15 lands in B tier. Next up is the Echo, and this is arguably the worst shotgun in the entire game right now. It's a full auto shotgun, but its fire interval is a painfully slow 219 milliseconds. To put that into perspective, that's almost twice as long between shots as the Odin. The mobility isn't completely awful, but it's certainly not fast enough to compensate for its other flaws. And its lethality isn't great either. While it can technically kill in one shot, the pellet spread pattern is so awful that it will almost never happen unless you're literally touching the enemy's chest. Overall, there is nothing good about this gun. Straight to F tier. Next up is the HSO-405, the big guy of the shotgun category and currently the best shotgun in the game. Let's get the flaws out of the way first. Its fire rate is painfully slow, with a 1280 millisecond interval between shots. Additionally, the reload and post-shot animations obstruct a large part of your screen. But now for the insane pros that make those flaws irrelevant. This gun is the most consistent one-shot killer, period. Why? Because it fires 15 pellets per shot compared to 12 for the KRM and BY-15. Since you only need 4 pellets to hit up to 13 meters, it's practically a guaranteed one-shot kill whether you hipfire or ADS. Mobility-wise, it also boasts the fastest sprint speed of all shotguns at 6.76 meters per second and maintains the standard crucial 135 millisecond sprint-to-fire time. Now, interestingly, it technically has the worst base pellet spread of the main 3 pump shotguns, but it compensates for that inaccuracy by simply firing more pellets. It has its clear drawbacks, but its sheer consistency and power make it the best. The HSO-405 is S tier. Imagine this. You line up the perfect one-shot kill, you pull the trigger, but you don't get the kill. That might be because of lag. It's the most frustrating way to lose a fight, and it's a big problem for shotgun users. That's why I use Exit Lag Mobile, to make sure my shots actually count. With just one tap, it stops those random lag spikes that cause ghost pellets and makes your connection over twice as stable so your shots actually register. It just makes every match feel fair. It works by finding a more stable route for your connection, and it's just not for COD Mobile. It optimizes your connection for over 800 mobile games and apps. If you're tired of losing to ghost pellets, try Exit Lag Mobile for free for 3 days using my link or the QR code on screen. Use my code KIT for over 15% off a subscription. And a huge thank you to Exit Lag Mobile for sponsoring this tier list. Alright, now that your connection is consistent, let's look at the funniest shotgun on the list. Next up is, in my opinion, the funniest shotgun to use in the game, the ACE-2126. Now, it's not fun because it's technically incredible, but because it can wipe out 5 people within 5 seconds without a single real effort. And if you do force yourself to play it optimally, it's actually one of the best automatic shotguns available. It has the best mobility in its class. Its single shot lethality is quite bad, but the full burst lethality is incredibly powerful. Here's how you use it. Run gung-ho, pop stim shots whenever you take damage, slide aggressively onto everyone, and just fire without restraint. Embrace the chaos. For its unique blend of fun and surprisingly high potential, the HS-2126 lands in A tier. Next on the list is the JAK-12. This is a decent option if your goal is simply holding down close quarter areas consistently. Compared to the HS-2126, it doesn't have great mobility, nor does it have that same explosive lethal potential. Instead, the JAK-12 relies purely on its lethal consistency, which is something the HS-2126 definitely lacks. Overall, the JAK-12 is basically just the non-garbage version of the Echo. It does the job reliably, but without any real strengths. For that, it lands in C tier. Unlike that last one, now we have a real contender, the KRM-262. Despite technically not being the best one-shot shotgun, it's arguably one of the most popular and it remains incredibly efficient. Its mobility is great even if it's just a tad slower than the HS-0405. Its lethality is also incredible, despite being a tad worse than the HS-0405. But where the KRM gains an edge is its much faster fire rate, which can make it significantly easier to use, especially for newer shotgun players. And here's one detail everyone seems to forget. The KRM is the most accurate of the pump action shotguns when aiming down sights. So even though everyone hip fires with it, just tap that ADS button, even slightly, and you will dominate. It's a fantastic, slightly more forgiving alternative to the absolute best. The KRM-262 earns its A tier. Next up is the R90, and this is simply the best non-one-shot shotgun in the game. It's able to two-shot kill within 200 milliseconds all the way out to 19 meters, and it is deadly accurate when you aim down sights. Now, it is a little slow, with only 6.1 meters per second sprint speed, but trust me, this thing is a beast. It's basically a point-and-click adventure. See someone, aim, fire twice, and move on to the next target. You don't need fancy movement, just focus on your aim and obliterate everyone. It isn't the most comfortable gun to use in extreme close quarters, but beyond that range, you are basically unkillable in a straight gunfight unless you're facing another shotgun. This gun single-handedly forced half the SMG users in competitive play to switch to shotguns. It is simply incredible and an undeniable S tier. If you thought the Echo was a joke, well, let me introduce you to the Striker. Imagine having to reload every single bullet one at a time, not on a slow firing weapon, but on a full auto shotgun firing at 260 RPM. The time it takes you to reload just one bullet is literally the time it takes you to fire two, which makes this gun completely awful to use in a real match. Now, if you ignore the reload, its performance is okay between 0 and 7 meters, but that's the same range where basically all full auto shotguns are effective, so it doesn't stand out. If this gun reloaded normally, it might actually be somewhat good, but with this insane fundamental flaw, it just can't do anything useful. Straight to F tier. And for our final shotgun, we have the VLK Rogue, which is kind of a weird gun. Technically, it's a full auto shotgun, but I highly recommend you don't use it that way. Think of it more like a fast-firing single-shot weapon. Similar to the Man of War Thermite, the VLK relies on burning damage to secure kills. This means it takes roughly half a second after your shot hits for the kill to actually register. However, with that burn damage, you can effectively one-shot enemies out to 15 meters, which is great range. Now, one critical detail, you need to ADS as much as possible. The ADS bullet spread accuracy is 3 times better than the hipfire spread, a much bigger difference than on most shotguns. Accuracy is key here. Overall, it's a great weapon with impressive range, but its reliance on burning damage is its fatal flaw. Anyone using Dauntless will completely counter you. For that reason, the VLK Rogue sits in B tier. So now you know the definitive ranking for every shotgun in Call of Duty Mobile. But if you're looking to dominate at long range instead, you need to know the best Snipers and Marksman Rifles.